models for different areas, right, which suited their needs in the most effective manner. Okay, so initially the British East India Company was earning about 70 to 80% of its revenue or the income from the land revenue, and this is the situation after 1765. But gradually what will happen, the economic activities will be diversified, and when economic activities will be diversified, so automatically the other forms of revenues or the other source of revenue will do what? Okay, will start helping or assisting land revenue. So land revenue will keep kept on increasing, but the overall share of the land revenue will decrease. Okay, but and in that situation also it was one of the highest. Okay, so the land revenue was one of the most important. Okay, you can say that part of system of exploitation. So we have discussed about these Warren Hastings system. Okay, we have already discussed about what Warren Hastings did. We also have discussed about what Lord Cornwallis did, which system he introduced. Okay, and then in last class I was discussing a system of settlement that was known as Ryotwari system of settlement. Okay, pura context samajhna, we need to understand the entire context. Okay, so you will not be confused in the questions. Okay, so Rayat simply means what? Peasant. In last class I have discussed that this is a peasant centric model where the East India Company will do settlement with the peasants or the Rayats. Okay, and this system again, they are inheritors, not the innovators. This system was already in practice, but they will collect high share of the land revenue from the peasants, but they will try to justify what they are doing. So what British said? British said that, okay, this is a survey and assessment based model. In last class I have discussed it. This was a survey and assessment based model. We will conduct land survey, right? We will do what? Okay, we will examine the nature of the soil, that this soil is suited for which type of crop. All this will be examined. This is the basic idea, and they will say that then we will, okay, just fix the land revenue, and it will be periodically revised. Okay, na? So that's why it's not permanent, and that's why it's called Rayat. Okay, now I have also discussed with you that previously it was implemented as an experimental model. Okay, then it was implemented on larger areas. Okay, so this was previously implemented on a experimental basis, then it was implemented on the larger area. Okay, so this I have already discussed with you. Okay, I have discussed some names with you. For example, in 1792 it was introduced as an experimental model by Colonel Reed. Okay, in a particular district of Bengal, that was Baramahal district. Okay, but after this what will happen? Okay, there is an important concept related to this Ryotwari settlement, and that I want to discuss with you. 1792 it was implemented on an experimental basis. Okay, in a particular area, small area, in a particular area or small area, that was Baramahal district. Baramahal district, it was implemented on a particular area or a small area, that was Baramahal district. Clear? Who implemented this? This is experimental basis. It was implemented by Captain Reed. Implemented by Captain Reed. Okay, then what will happen on the basis of this? Okay, you can say that experimental model, recommendations will be given. Recommendations will be given, and on the basis of these recommendations, okay, in 1820 it was applied to larger areas in Madras region. In Madras region, so it was applied to the larger areas in Madras region. And gradually, it means South India, Madras. Which model was more popular? So this model, Ryotwari. Okay, Madras. The other areas are also there. Some parts of Bombay, some parts of Bengal, some parts of Northeast Assam, or some parts of Karnataka. All this is there, but larger in the South India. So you can write this. Some parts, always write here, some parts of Bengal region, okay, some parts of, okay, some parts of Deccan, some parts of Northeast, some parts of Karnataka, Bengal, Northeast, Deccan, Karnataka. So all this was implemented in a single day, or gradually it will increase. Gradually it will be implemented. Okay. So larger part or territories of South India were covered under this Ryotwari system. Okay. So gradually, right, this point, it was gradually implemented in different areas. It was gradually implemented in different areas, and it was covering almost 51% of the British Indian territories. It was covering almost 51% of the British Indian territories. तो बताओ सबसे ज्यादा एक्सटेंशन किसका था? रैयतवाड़ी का. ठीक है. It was covered, or it was covering about 61% of the British Indian territories. Okay. Now if we compare permanent and Ryotwari system of settlement, so which is implemented on larger area? Okay, so the answer is Ryotwari. It was implemented on the larger area. देखो, many reforms were amended in this Ryotwari system time to time. Read this. Many reforms were also, many reforms or many changes will be the more accurate word. Read this. Many changes were also introduced from time to time. Many changes were also introduced from time to time. Many changes were also introduced from time to time. ठीक है. जैसे देखो क्या होगा. Some government will bring some legislations. For example, there was a regulation that was introduced in the year 1822. Okay, so Ryotwari will be implemented in larger areas by this regulation of 1822. Then again what will happen? Okay, there is a good governor general, I will discuss about him in later. That was William Bentinck. ठीक है ना. So again another regulation was brought in the year 1833. Don't write this, just try to listen. 1822 one regulation, 1833 another regulation, and these government regulations are doing what? Introducing some changes in this policy. मतलब रैयतवारी में भी क्या हो रहा है? Different changes were introduced from time to time. Okay, so why these different changes were introduced? To secure the interest of the Indian people, or to secure the interests of the British people? The answer is very clear. To secure the interests of the British people. The changes were introduced from time to time. So जो आपने लिखा ना, changes were introduced from time to time. Right? Example, regulation of 1822, regulation of 1833, regulation of 1822, regulation of 1833, regulation of 1822, regulation of 1833. ठीक है. अच्छा देखो, when these regulations were introduced, तो other models were also in practice. For example, एक दूसरा model भी है, that is Mahalwari system. So will it bring changes in Mahalwari system also? Answer is yes. Okay, so bracket में लिख लो, these regulations will bring changes in the other land revenue system, land revenue models also. For example, Mahalwari also, they will bring changes in other land revenue model also, that is Mahalwari also. दूसरे में भी changes introduce होंगे. ठीक है. Now देखो क्या होता है. Ryotwari was applied on larger areas in South India. So in South India, in Madras region, there was a very famous famine. That is, read this, Madras famine of 1867 to 78. Madras famine of 1867 to 78. This famine is prolonged famine or not? Yes. ये तो prolonged famine है ना, मानते हो? And in Bengal there was a famine, Great Famine of Bengal, 1777, 70. Okay, read this, Great Famine of Bengal. You all know, Great Famine of Bengal, 1770. Okay, during this dual system of governance in Bengal, that is Great Famine of Bengal. तो यहाँ पे आपने दो famines देखे. UPSC had already asked question about this. Okay, so we will use this example. That कैसे ये famines जो थे वो man made थे. When I will discuss the topic famine, I will take the reference of these, okay, years. Got it? Because the famines in British India were man-made. Okay, how government policies resulted in increased number of famines and the droughts. This we need to understand. Now there was a third model which was in practice, and this model was, right, Mahalwari system. This model was Mahalwari system. Mahalwari system. This was the third model which was in practice, Mahalwari system. And here we are using a word Mahal. And Mahal means what? Mahal means villages, basically group of villages. Group of villages are known as Mahal. Clear? So in India, we all know that India is a country having unity in diversity. Okay, ये तो पता ही है. यूरोप की कहानी वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में आप देख ही चुके हो. इटली, जर्मनी, दे वर फाइटिंग फॉर व्हाट? यूनिटी इन यूनिफॉर्मिटी. एंड इंडिया इज अ कंट्री विच इज हैविंग यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी. तो हम ज़्यादा महान हैं, ठीक है, बिकॉज हमने उसको मेंटेन कर रखा है. ठीक है, यूरोप में तो कई टुकड़े हो गए इस चक्कर में. यूनिटी इन यूनिफॉर्मिटी उनको चाहिए था. राइट नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस हियर इज दैट Mahal means group of villages, and in India there were certain territories or the areas where, okay, group of villages, and you can say that, for example, in each and every village there will be 4 or 5 prominent persons. Okay, and what they will say, the villagers will often recognize it and will accept it. In the same way, suppose there are 4 or 5 villages, so there is a village community which takes all important decision about those villages. For example, today you must have heard the name of Khap Panchayats. Khap Panchayat is the same kind of thing, that there are 4 or 5 villages and some elders of that village, okay, they take all important decision about that village. Okay, even they just deliver judicial decisions also. ठीक है, वहाँ पे कोई crime होगा, they can settle the disputes. They are very prominent. So in India there were some areas where such, you can say that, village chiefs or the group of village chiefs or lumbardars were very influential. So now British thought that, देखो, in some villages there was one zamindar who was powerful and influential. Here there is no one is zamindar, but this is a group of prominent persons who take all important decisions. Now what will happen here? Group of prominent persons taking all important decisions. Now the EIC will think that it will be better to do settlement with these mahals or their chiefs, their lumbardars, and they will be given the collective responsibility that it is your task. You can collect the land revenue from that particular village and you will submit it to East India Company and you will get share out of it. So this is the entire concept, that there are no big jamindars. Clear? And doing settlement with each and every rayat is a very difficult task, daunting task. So it is good that it is easier also, convenient also, that you can do settlement with the group of mahals or these lumbardars. That's why this settlement is called Mahalwari settlement. Itna aasan hai. Okay, so write this here. Settlement will be done with mahals or villages or group of villages and their representatives. Villages, group of villages and their representatives. Okay, their representatives are generally known as lumbardar. Their representatives are generally known as lumbardar. Clear? Or village headman you can say. Group of village headman you can say. Group of village headman you can say. Group of village headman or village headman. So here settlement will be done with them. Obviously it will apply to some selected areas. And what are these selected areas? This we need to understand. So read this. Okay. अच्छा बताओ, पंजाब आज तो हरियाणा भी है, तो उस समय नहीं था. पंजाब प्रोविंस विल बी एन इम्पॉर्टेंट एरिया और नॉट? यस, हरियाणा उसी में बना है ना. खाप पंचायत का नाम हम सुनते हैं. सो राइट दिस, पंजाब प्रोविंस विल बी वन एरिया फॉर दिस. पंजाब प्रोविंस प्लस मेनली इट वाज अप्लाइड इन दिस नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर प्रोविंस, NWFP, नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर प्रोविंस, पंजाब रीजन, Northwest Frontier Province, Punjab region. Right, next point. Some parts of United Province and Central Province also. Some parts of United Province and Central Province also. Some parts of United Province and Central Province also. Got it? Okay, read this. Rate of land revenue that was fixed was very high. rate of land revenue that was fixed was very high. Okay, in some areas it was up to 60 to 80%. यहाँ तक था. The rate of land revenue that was fixed was very high. In some areas it was up to 60 to 80%. 60 to 80%. 60 to 80%. ठीक है. Or it will be applied to how much percent of the British area territory? First was 19%, second was 51%. So this will be the remaining. Remaining, what will be the answer? Almost 25 to 30%. Okay, so write this. It was applied to almost 25 to 30% of the British Indian territories. It was applied to almost 25 to 30% of the British areas, right? 25 to 30%. This is the simple thing. Now, what we need to understand here, one point. Have you understood all this? Okay. How these land revenue policies became one contributing factor in the revolt of 1857. This we need to understand. Now I am going to connect these things. That here, what you see is that from 1772 onwards, then 1793, this is okay, Warren Hastings, Cornwallis. Then we see 1792, 1820. This is Ryotwari system. Then we see what? Mahalwari system. Basically 1822. Here the founder was Holt Mackenzie. Write this name. Holt Mackenzie was the founder of Mahalwari system. Holt Mackenzie. Okay. Concept को समझना है. Try to relate the concepts. ठीक है ना? These years. Are you getting these years? समझ में आ रहा है? बस थोड़े सी चीज़ों को कनेक्ट कर लेना है. Things will be more effective. Whatever you are learning here. One part is what? 1765. That is Treaty of Allahabad. One part is what? 1765 to 1772. And what we have discussed here, dual system of governance. ये क्या हो गया? Regulating Act. Sorry, this is इजारेदारी. Okay. Warren Hastings model. पंचशाला. यहाँ पे क्या है? पंचशाला. Here what we see? Regulating Act. Here what we see? Ryotwari system of settlement. Here what we see? Okay. Mahalwari. This is what? Mahalwari. This is what? Regulating Act or Zamindari. Okay. अब now you relate this. ठीक है. जब हम किसी भी टॉपिक को फिनिश करते हैं, whenever you are finishing any topic, try to correlate this topic with some other issues. Then it will be helpful for your exam, right? Now we are correlating it with revolt of 1857. Okay. बताओ. Dissatisfaction from this land revenue system will be one reason or not. So what we see is that there is a gradually what is happening, a kind of dissatisfaction is accumulating. Okay, dissatisfaction, and this is what? This is happening gradually. धीरे धीरे गुस्सा लोगों का क्या होता है? धीरे धीरे जमा होता है, फिर एक दिन फूट पड़ता है. The same is happening here. What we'll see, write this. Gradually dissatisfaction is growing. Dissatisfaction is gradually. Now, dissatisfaction among which groups? This we need to understand. Dissatisfaction among which groups? This dissatisfaction is growing among which groups? So the first group will be the peasant, because the ultimate burden shifted on the shoulders of the peasant. पहला dissatisfaction किस पे होगा? Peasant पे. Why peasant will be dissatisfied? We all know. Very high rate of land revenues. Very high rate of land revenue. Peasant was unable to pay. Very high rate of land revenues. Peasant was unable to pay. So obviously peasant will be dissatisfied. बहुत simple concepts है. और देखो, whenever you are watching any class ना, okay, so there should be one parameter that after 2 hours, are we able to write something? Why I am saying this? Because okay, of one reason. Okay, whenever I see something na, so I will not like to name any person. Okay, but I see that okay, young mind, like new students who are entering into the field of preparation, okay, they can easily be influenced by the teachers. But देखो, teachers are generally 40 years 50 years plus people, so whatever they say, students take it as an authentic suggestion, okay, and they don't realize the importance of their time. What time you are spending here, it is important. पहले तो ये बात समझ लो, if you are spending time with me, okay, so your time is very auspicious. If you are not getting anything from my classes, so you should not join me. This is first clear instruction. And after 2 hours you should, okay, evaluate that, am I able to write something, whatever I have studied, what is the output of this class, okay. And when you start questioning this is what, इसी को तो कहते हैं sense of inquiry, okay. And you should constantly do this for the next coming 2 years, okay. Then you will be able to filter what is right for you, what is not right for you, okay, and you will get your answer by yourself. अगर आपको ये चीज कोई दूसरा बता रहा है, that is not a good thing. You must be in a position to evaluate yourself, ठीक है ना. तो टीचर्स के प्रति रेस्पेक्ट होनी चाहिए, लेकिन अंधी श्रद्धा नहीं होनी चाहिए, ठीक है, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. दैट शुड नॉट बी देयर, ओके. नाउ देखो यहाँ पे कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है, व्हाट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट हियर. peasant are dissatisfied by very high rate of land revenue, plus peasant rights or ownership was also compromised or not, yes or no? Yes, so write this, okay. Ownership of land, ownership over land, ownership over land was also affected or compromised. Ownership over land was also affected or compromised. Ownership over land was also affected or compromised, right? Ownership over land was also affected or compromised. It means, can we say that an independent peasant, okay, जो पिछली क्लास में बताया था, okay, his status was lowered or reduced, became what, tenants on his own land. This is the meaning which I have already discussed. Now write third point. What is the third effect on the peasants? Okay, do you think that the peasants will be trapped in the clutches of money lenders? Yes, because the government is not giving any relaxation in land revenue. Whatever be the situation, you will have to pay land revenue on time. So write this, okay. Peasants will be trapped, peasants will be trapped in the clutches of land money lenders, right, in the clutches of money lenders. Peasants will be trapped in the clutches of money lenders, okay. And this is a class of intermediaries, and who will give birth to this class? Company officials, because they need, जैसे आज क्रेडिट कार्ड पकड़ा दिया कंपनियों ने, ठीक है, कि भैया पैसा नहीं है तो क्या करो, कैन बोरो मनी, ठीक है, एंड दे विल चार्ज हाई रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. वही क्रेडिट कार्ड है मनी लेंडर, राइट. They will do what? They will charge high rate of interest, and you will be trapped where? In a vicious cycle of debt. क्रेडिट कार्ड वालों से पूछना, जो लोग ज्यादा करते हैं, कभी उनका ड्यूज क्लियर नहीं होता है. So here what will happen? Once you are in the clutches of money lenders, you will be trapped in the vicious cycle of debt. Vicious cycle means if you are trapped, it is almost impossible to come out. That is the vicious cycle. So write this. Here the peasants will be trapped in the vicious cycle of debt. Vicious cycle of debt. कर्ज में फंस जाएगा. Okay. So there are two options. Okay. Sell your land. Okay. And migrate to cities to do some, or to join some other economic activities. This will happen or not? So do you think that the flight of labor from agriculture to the other economic activities? Yes, this will happen. So write this. Flight of labor, flight or migration, you can write that flight of labor from agriculture to other economic activities. And this point we will use later. Flight of agriculture, flight of labor from agriculture to other economic activities. Now tell me one thing. The surplus which the Indian peasant had always in his home, today also the villagers keep okay, 10 quintals, 20 quintals, 30 quintals of food grains in their houses, that is stored. This is what? Surplus, which they always maintained, which they can utilize at the time of distress. If your family belong to some villages, you will find that your father, your grandfather, okay, they will do what? Collect the food grains. This is what? Surplus food grains. They used to store. Now, will they be able to store that surplus food grain? No. Zamindars also used to store surplus food grain in their campuses. Will now Zamindar be able to store that surplus food grain? No. And all your income, all your savings are affected because there is high rate of land revenue. Now you don't have money, you don't have surplus food. And at the same time, British are promoting what? Forced commercialization of agriculture. So commercial crops, will you consume at the time of distress? No. Okay, so again, surplus, agriculture surplus was affected. You can also write one point here, that agriculture, write this, the state of agriculture surplus was affected. The state of agriculture surplus was affected. The state of agriculture surplus was affected. In bracket, you will write that forced COA, commercialization of agriculture, was also one factor. I will discuss this later. You will write this point, that forced COA, that is forced commercialization of agriculture, was also a factor. Forced COA, forced commercialization of agriculture, was also a factor. Got it? इतना तो अभी समझ में आ रहा है ना? I will discuss the definition later. Post commercialization of agriculture is also a factor. It means, now what about the self-sufficient nature of Indian villages? It will be affected. Yes, it will be affected. So write this. As a result of all this, what happened is self-sufficient. As a result of all this, the self-sufficient nature of village economy was affected. The self-sufficient nature of village economy was affected. As a result of all this, what will happen? The self-sufficient nature of village economy will be affected. Okay, it means what is happening? Okay, impoverishment is increasing, ruralization is being promoted. Ruralization means क्या होगा? और गरीब होते चले जाओगे, ठीक है ना? So write this, impoverishment and ruralization of Indian economy, impoverishment of peasantry class. At this point, these are the keywords you must know. Impoverishment of peasantry class and ruralization of Indian economy. Ruralization of Indian economy, impoverishment of peasantry class and ruralization of Indian economy, both were increasing, both were growing. Impoverishment of peasantry class and ruralization of Indian economy, both were growing. Now, who has replaced zamindars? Gradually, company has replaced zamindars. ये part समझ में आया कि peasants are highly dissatisfied. Okay, now tell me, 1857 revolt was started by whom? Sepoys. And who are sepoys? Sepoys are the peasants in uniform. Sepoys are the peasants in uniform. जो बॉर्डर पे खड़ा है वो सिर्फ सिपाही नहीं है, वो किसान भी है. Okay, so whatever is happening in the villages will directly affect these sepoys also. Okay, तो ये लिंक हमेशा याद रखना. Write this point, that okay, 1857 revolt यहाँ लिखा ना आपने. Write this, it was started by sepoys. It was started by sepoys. And this point you must highlight, इसको inverted comma में लिख लो. And sepoys were peasants in uniform. Sepoys were peasants in uniform. Sepoys were peasants in uniform. So it's quite clear to relate that whatever will happen in the villages will definitely affect the sepoys. तो वो केवल sepoy mutiny नहीं थी. Colonial historians write that 1857 revolt was okay merely sepoy mutiny. It was only a sepoy mutiny. It simply means that they are trying to demean revolt of 1857. This concept is clear. Now I will address one more class here. The another class which rights was affected was the class of zamindars. Their rights were affected or not? Yes or no? Yes. In permanent system of settlement area, what happened? PSS areas. In PSS areas, you all know that there was one zamindar that we are calling good zamindar, and this good zamindars will be sympathetic to the needs of Indian people. They will be sympathetic. So what will happen? They will not use coercive means. They will not use coercive means to collect land revenue. They will not use coercive means to collect land revenue. पहली चीज. And what is happening? One share of revenue goes to company, and company does not give any relaxation. Company does not give any relaxation in land revenue to the peasant. Company does not give any relaxation in land revenue to the peasant. Peasant को कोई भी relaxation company नहीं दे रही है. Okay? It means that in case of drought and famine too, the peasants are not given any relaxation. And what else the company is doing? High rate of land revenue that is being collected from people. High rate of land revenue. The land revenue rates are very high. They are very high. The land revenue rates are land revenue rates of are very high. Land revenue rates are very high. So if company is collecting high land revenue, the company must spend a share of this land revenue on land development works or providing irrigation facilities. But company will not provide that. It means your focus is on collection of land revenue only. Okay, you are neglecting your official duty. If you are collecting revenue, you must spend it on the land development work under irrigation facilities. So company neglected its duties. Right to inko yaad raha. This is what their right, that they are collecting revenues. But what about the responsibilities or duties? Write this. Responsibilities and duties were neglected. Responsibilities were neglected. Duties were neglected. Responsibilities were neglected and duties were neglected. Why we are saying this? Responsibilities and duties were neglected. So it's very simple. We can say here that, read this, okay, no focus or attention on land development works. No focus or attention on land development works. Land development works पे कोई focus नहीं, कोई attention नहीं. No focus or attention on land development works. It's clearly visible ना, ये लिखा हुआ visible हो रहा है. Okay, चलिए. No focus or attention on land development work. Right, next point. Neglected the duty of providing irrigation facilities. It also neglected the duty of providing irrigation facilities. It also neglected the duty of providing irrigation facility. Okay, that is the second point. It also neglected, company also neglected the duty of providing irrigation facilities. Okay, now what will happen in long term if government is not focusing on land development work? आज भी देखो फर्टिलाइजर और ये सब सब्सिडी क्यों दी जाती है? Okay, soft loans to the peasants or the farmers. Many a times you will find that their loans are also waived off. Why? Because the government understands its responsibility कि हमें peasant community का ध्यान रखना है, yet the government is not taking care of that responsibility. Now ultimately in long term what will happen? Plus agriculture is not profitable, so the peasants are migrating to other economic activities. In long term what will happen? Decline in agriculture production, decline in agricultural productivity, and surplus was also affected. अब जमींदार के पास भी surplus नहीं है, किसान के पास भी surplus नहीं है. What will happen if any famine or drought situation? Okay, emerges here. What will happen? देखो ड्रॉट्स, yes, droughts and famines are natural. ये ancient time से होता था, but its effects were mitigated. उसके इफेक्ट को क्या किया जाता था? फॉर एग्जाम्पल लोकल रूलर्स विल डू रिलैक्सेशन ऑफ लैंड रेवेन्यू. उनके पास फूड रिजर्व्स है तो वो गरीबों में बांट देंगे. पीजेंट्स के पास खुद के पास सरप्लस है. ओके, रिलैक्सेशन ऑफ लैंड रेवेन्यू वाज गिवन, तो उसके असर को कम किया जाता था. बात समझ गया ना? यहाँ क्या होगा? व्हेन फेमाइंस एंड ड्रॉट these situations will emerge, what will happen? The frequency and intensity of these famines will increase. पीजेंट के पास खुद की कैपेसिटी अब नहीं है इस फेमाइन से जूझने की. एग्रीकल्चर लेस प्रॉफिटेबल हो चुका है, प्रोडक्शन डिक्लाइन है, एंड द गवर्नमेंट, अगर कोई फेमाइन या ड्रॉट लाइक सिचुएशन है, सो द गवर्नमेंट शुड कम विथ ह्यूमैनिटेरियन मेजर्स एंड द रिलीफ वर्क्स. दैट वाज आल्सो मिसिंग. So what will happen? Okay, the number of casualties will increase. That's why it said that the famines and droughts, for example, famine in Bengal 1770, great famine of Madras 1867, बताया ना अभी आपको. Okay, all these famines were what? Man-made. Were the outcome of the company's policies. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? They were artificial. Okay, तो ये अप्रोच आपको ध्यान रखना है. दिस अप्रोच यू शुड नीड कि किसी आंसर में हम यूज करेंगे. गॉट इट? हैव यू गॉट दिस एंटायर आइडिया? रीजन ड्यूटीज वेर नेग्लेक्टेड. ओके, तो यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट आप ऐड कर लो, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज इन कंक्लूजन यू मे ऐड दिस पॉइंट दैट राइट दिस. ओके, फेमाइंस एंड ड्रॉट्स वर नेचुरल. It was not a completely new phenomena. Famines and droughts were natural. Famines and droughts were natural. Famines and droughts were natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. It was not a completely new phenomena. It was natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. It was natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. Okay. ब्रैकेट में लिख लेना फ्रॉम एंशिएंट टाइम्स. इट मीन्स दैट एंशिएंट टाइम्स से ये चीज़ें देखी जाती रही फ्रॉम एंशिएंट टाइम्स. ओके, ब्रैकेट क्लोज. देन यू विल राइट दैट इन ब्रिटिश इंडिया the famines and droughts emerged as one of the important challenges for the people or for the masses. In British India, the famines and droughts emerged as one of the important challenges. They emerged as one of the important challenges for the people, for the masses, for the people or for the masses, because here the droughts were man-made or artificial, or because here the droughts were man-made or artificial, or the droughts were man-made or artificial, or the results of or the outcome of, ऐसे लिखो, or the outcome of British policies, or the outcome of British policies, outcome of British policies. Right, next point. The frequency and intensity of these famines and droughts increased. The frequency and intensity of these famines and droughts increased. The frequency and intensity of these famines and droughts increased. Okay, increased during British period. During British period, right? Due to the neglection of official responsibility. Due to the neglection of official responsibility. Have you got some idea? आगे भी पढ़ेंगे बहुत सारी चीजें, तो keep the things in your mind. Okay, you can get questions like this. Example, 2 or 3 examples of the famines we must know. So when we substantiate our opinion with some examples, the quality of our answer becomes better. Okay, now we were talking about the classes. Now the next class was zamindar class. Okay, good zamindar. What will happen? If they are sympathetic, if they will not use coercive methods, so will they be able to pay land revenue on time? The answer is no. On them what will be applied? Sunset laws will be applied. And when sunset law will be applied, what will happen? Read this. They became displaced zamindars. They became displaced zamindars. Once sunset law is applied, you became a displaced zamindar. आप displaced zamindar हो गए. They became displaced zamindars when sunset laws was applied. कितना आसान है? Now tell me, when revolt of 1857 will take place, what will happen? These displaced zamindars will support the revolt or not? Yes. Peasant revolt mein they will provide leadership or not? Yes. So write this. Okay. They supported revolt of 1857. Okay. And they also provided leadership to the peasant revolts. Okay. They supported revolt of 1857 and they also provided leadership to the peasant revolts. Leadership to the peasant revolts. This idea is clear. Now another important thing that I am going to discuss here, okay, and you will be surprised to know this. देखो, रैयतवारी सिस्टम में किसके साथ हुआ सेटलमेंट? रैयत्स के साथ. ओके, बट इन महालवारी व्हाट हैपेंड? देखो, महालवारी सिस्टम में क्या है? सेटलमेंट वाज डन विद द महाल्स और ग्रुप ऑफ महाल्स. एक कंपनी की पॉलिसी मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. ओके, इफ यू वांट टू प्रोजेक्ट योरसेल्फ एज द मोस्ट डोमिनेंट पर्सन, मोस्ट पावरफुल पर्सन, जैसे मान लो कोई एरिया है, जैसे मान लो कि सपोज यशस्विनी का गांव है, देयर इज अ विलेज ऑफ यशस्विनी and Yashaswini is one of the most powerful leader of that particular area. And if I want to project myself as the most powerful leader of that area, Yashaswini is local of her area and I am outsider, so I will have to do some conspiracy. लोकल का सिंपैथी हमेशा किसके साथ होगा? लोकल के साथ होगा. तो सबसे पहले लोकल की सिंपैथी यशस्विनी के लिए खत्म कर दो. And how it will happen? In Mahal, company will sign settlement with the influential persons or chiefs in the villages. ध्यान से समझना इस बात को, ठीक है? ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की पॉलिसी अगर आपने ठीक से समझ ली तो बहुत खतरनाक बन सकते हो, ठीक है? तो व्हाट विल हैपन? कंपनी ने क्या किया? अपना पार्टी, अपनी टीम में किसको ले लिया? लंबरदार्स को. एंड नाउ दे विल चार्ज वेरी हाई रेट ऑफ लैंड रेवेन्यू. ओके, नाउ द पीजेंट्स आर सीरियस कंप्लेंट्स कि इतना ज़्यादा रेवेन्यू हम कैसे दे पा रहे हैं, कैसे दे पाएंगे. नाउ द कंपनी ऑफिशियल्स विल से दैट हम क्या करें, तुम्हारे जो लोकल बॉस हैं, रीजनल मैग्नेट्स हैं, दे आर चार्जिंग ओके हाई रेट्स. व्हाट वी आर पेइंग वी कैन नॉट डिस्क्लोज यू, लेकिन हमारे पास जो भी आ रहा है उसका बड़ा हिस्सा किसके पास चला जा रहा है? लंबरदार्स के पास. नाउ दीज लंबरदार्स वर लाइक द लोकल लीडर्स. Now what will happen? The confidence of the local people in these lambardars will do what? Will further start declining. अब आपकी सिंपैथी लंबरदार्स के लिए क्या होने लगेगी? कम होने लगेगी. अब देखो, अगेन हियर टू क्लास ऑफ लंबरदार्स विल इमर्ज. सब लोग एक जैसे नहीं होते. वन ग्रुप ऑफ लंबरदार्स विल बी वेरी हैप्पी साइनिंग दिस सेटलमेंट विथ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. ठीक है, क्योंकि उन लंबरदार के घर भी इंग्लिश वाली मैडम ट्यूशन पढ़ाने आ चुकी है, तभी से जलवा है इंग्लिश वाली मैडम का. मेरी बात समझ गया? नाउ वन ग्रुप ऑफ लंबरदार्स आर वेरी हैप्पी साइनिंग द सेटलमेंट विथ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. दे आर ऑल्सो हेल्पिंग एंड सपोर्टिंग एआईसी ऑफिशियल्स इन देयर बिजनेस एक्टिविटीज. दे आर गेटिंग बेनिफिट्स. तो एक ग्रुप तो क्या हुआ? इजीली ट्रैप हो गया, वन ग्रुप ऑफ लंबरदार्स. बट देयर विल बी अनदर ग्रुप ऑफ लंबरदार्स. दे विल से दैट यू कैन नॉट चार्ज दिस मच rate of interest, we oppose this. Now the company will say what? Okay, all area belongs to us, we will decide what we have to do. If you have any problem, we will give you pension. Okay, sit idle, don't speak anything. And what will happen? The good lumberdars will be given pension now. आप इस एरिया के सबसे इन्फ्लुएंशियल आदमी थे, अब आपको हम पेंशन दे देंगे, आपको कुछ बोलना नहीं है. नाउ दे विल थिंक दैट यार बैठे बैठे पेंशन मिल जाएगा, कुछ काम भी नहीं करना पड़ेगा. जब भी ये आइडिया आपके दिमाग में आता है कि बैठे बैठे पैसा मिल जाएगा, ठीक है, 2 रुपए का 20 रुपए बनाने वाला जो स्कीम है ना, वो आते ही अलर्ट हो जाओ. तो बैड गुड लंबरदार्स को तो ऐसे निपटा देंगे, दे विल स्टार्ट गेटिंग पेंशन. and after 5 year 10 year they will do what? They will stop paying them pensions. और जब आप चुपचाप बैठ के पेंशन लेने लगे थे या इसी को अपोज नहीं कर रहे थे, तो लोकल लोगों का सपोर्ट आप में विश्वास क्या हो जाएगा? कम हो जाएगा. नाउ यू आर नॉट द देयर लीडर. So gradually they will be able to break the dominance of these influential persons in these areas. And gradually what will happen? A time will come when company will replace zamindar, when company will replace lambardar, and now company is the new zamindar, now company is the new lambardar. ब्रिटेन से आके आपके गांव के जमींदार का प्रभाव खत्म करके खुद उनके ऑफिशियल्स क्या बन गए? जमींदार बन गए. छोटी मोटी बात है, समझ गए? So that's why they designed all these land revenue policies. Got it? Okay. So you can write this point that ये लिख लिया था ना. One point is clear. Zamindar displaced. Right. Next point. In Mahalwari areas also gradually. In Mahalwari areas also gradually, a large number of lambardars were deposed of their administrative liabilities. In Mahalwari areas also, a large number of lambardars were gradually or last easy karo isko. Okay, the administrative rights of large number of lambardars were taken back. जितना आसान लैंग्वेज लिख सकते हो लिखना है, ठीक है ना? The administrative rights of large number of lambardars were taken back. देखो कहीं पे अगर आपको ये दिखाना हो कि मैं बहुत नॉलेजेबल हूँ, तो खूब डिफिकल्ट इंग्लिश बोलो जो सामने वाले को समझ में नहीं आए. खूब डिफिकल्ट हिंदी बोलो. जैसे मैं अगर बोलना शुरू करूं कि हृदय की भावनात्मक अनुभूतियों की तल्लीनता, अमृत वर्षी आलाप करने वाले मधुर भावों से भावुक कृष्ण काव्य की रचना कर असंख्य हृदयों को हरा भरा कर देने वाले साहित्य के सृष्टा और ब्रजभाषा के गौरव, ऐसे बोलूंगा तो पीपल विल से कितना ज्ञानी आदमी है, महामूर्ख आदमी है जो ऐसे बोलता है. राइट? ओके. तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लैंग्वेज नहीं, ठीक है ना? बट जहां माहौल बनाना है वहां बोलो. गॉट इट? Okay, so at this large number of the administrative duties or responsibilities of lambardars were taken away. The administrative duties or responsibilities of lambardars were taken away. Okay, they were pensioned off. They were pensioned off. उनको pension भी दी गई. They were pensioned off. Administrative duties or responsibilities were taken away. They were pensioned off. उनको pension दिया गया. And gradually they lost their support and sympathy of the local people. And gradually they lost their support and sympathy of the local people or the local masses. And gradually they lost their sympathy and support of the local people or the local masses. तो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने क्या किया? ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी डिड व्हाट? ओके, आउटसाइडर. दे डिड व्हाट? दे रिप्लेस लोकल रूलर्स, दे रिप्लेस लोकल जमींदार्स, दे रिप्लेस लोकल लंबरदार्स. एंड नाउ लोकल रूलर वाज ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, लोकल जमींदार वाज ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, लोकल लंबरदार वाज ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. क्लियर? दिस इज व्हाट? कंपनी रूल इन इंडिया. इसी को कहते हैं कंपनी रूल. This is company rule in India. Got this entire concept clear? So our traditional structure was disturbed or not? Yes or no? Yes, our traditional structure